We're tuned to Noise Party. Portions of this show were shot live at AS220, and the portion that was shot there features the Luckies. And the second portion of the three-part show was shot live at Cafe Liberty, and the personnel in that portion is Steve August, Part 2, Peter Sosna, Alan Gamble, Janet Conerney, and Mary Gauthier, plus Mary Gauthier with Peter Sosna and assorted personnel at the Liberty Cafe's open mic. The latter portion of the show is The Wrong Hero with Steve Iskowitz in a special reunion concert. The Wrong Hero will be at Cafe Liberty as a featured act in May 13th. So please come see him Monday night. And now, we join the Luckies performing live at AS220, now in progress. You're tuned to Noise Party.
They covered that song? They covered that song that we just wrote? That was Crowded House.
Yes! Yes! Woo!
Man, you keep...
This is rocking. You're wrong!
The second caller will win. We're going to do a little waltz number. Push aside the chairs. Come on.
3, 4. That's right. Guess that would be 3.
Well, I thought it was heaven, but it could have been nothing, and I hope I don't throw it away. My luck or the falls, or some mystery call, here is where I will stay. I'll die with the show, and now there's a Thank you. Enough of that wimpy stuff. Let's do a faster one now. This is a little wimpy, I guess. This is a half wimpy. Really? No, we're not. We're gonna go crazy. We're gonna go nuts. No. Oh yeah. This is crazy.
What is it?
This is a song about a car. A friend of mine named Olan wrote the words, and I dug it.
The first lyric is "Love sucks forever."
Not forever. Forever. question. Would you like to hear a faster song or slower? Or what? A little slower? Okay, we'll do a little slower. You're psychic. That was what was on the set list. You can put me in your nice little number.
This is another one that somebody copied from us.
Fucking jerk.
Get a lawyer. Come on, two.
Those guys. But I thought we were going to go somewhere with that one, really, you know? This is a little number we did. Now we're gonna do a song. It's a wonderful little song. It's by a band called Eddie and the Showman. Some of you guys might remember that. They covered it. We're covering it. They covered it. We weren't even born yet. They covered it. It's called Squad Car. 1, 2, 3, 4. I see surf rock fans and
calm down.
Hey, Woody, take it easy. You're not a freaking cardiac. You guys swell. You guys are. Oh, no, really? I'm talking to you.
Who else is talking? You want to see my crypto
No.
We're going to do 2 more numbers, and that will be all. Easy coming. I never wanted the love that you showed me. It's not as you told me. Now I wish I said no to this love. I couldn't take that too fast. I want you to know. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce the members of the Luckies. To my right, playing the bass guitar, the always fabulous Otis Rogers. And right behind me, playing the drums, is the completely wondrous Bill the Thrill Conant. And me, my name is Johnny Keener. Thank you very much. I'd love to do it, and you know you've always had it coming.
From Vermont, the Luckies.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Yeah, it was awesome.
to say, but I just say good luck.
Steve August.
I know what I should say, but I just say good luck. I smile, but I'm screaming down the side, and I feel like I just lay down and die. She says she don't know what to do, but this is awfully big of news. If there's anything I can do, oh, nah. I've heard the same refrain. You're so nice, yeah, I know you'd understand. Yeah, well, shine a shame. You're so nice, I love you as a friend. You're so nice, yeah, you're the better man. Yeah, well, I'm shining. Yeah, well, I'm shining. Yeah, well, I'm shining the change. Thanks. One more. Yeah, one more. Someone's called Trying to Change. It's for Lefty. Thank you, Mary. Thanks. I can count on you. All right. All right, this is the last song. I'm not going to tell you what the title is, because if you haven't figured it out by the end of the song, then you really don't deserve to know. It's a traveling song. Home on a cold day with a full tank and an empty book. The familiar sang below the horizon, and the earth spun beneath our wheels. We drove all day and we drove all night. The sun came up, we were out of sight. So we pulled in to this ghostly town, and we got out and we looked around, and we saw a man on his front porch chair. He had gray eyes and he had gray hair. Hey old man, can you help us out? We're nowhere on this map. Says, boys, I can tell you where you are, standing on the corner of the world. Yes, you're standing on a corner of the world. Yes, in spite of what you might hear, all roads lead to here. You're standing on a corner of the world. When we reached the sea, he turned back, going out to Queen. Flew so far west that I was east, and the earth spun beneath my feet. When I took stand, I wanted to be, but I could not read, and I could not speak. I was so lost, my head did spin. What to do, oh, where to begin? And then I felt a tug from a little woman, and she looked up, said, "Me speak your tongue." "Excuse me, little girl, I'm a stranger to your land. Can you tell me where on earth I am? Standing on the corner of the world." She said, "You're standing on the corner of the world. Yes, in spite of what you might hear, all roads lead to here. You're standing on the corner of the world." If you want, I can tell you where you are. Standing on the corner of the world. Yes, you're standing on the corner of the world. Yes, in spite of what you might hear, all roads lead to here. You're standing on the corner of the world. Yeah, you're standing on the corner of the world. Yeah, you're standing on the corner of the world. Yes, in spite of what you might hear, all roads lead to here. You're standing on the corner of the world. Thanks a lot. Well, thank everybody for coming out over the last year. Help me out. Good luck. Take care.
Sure it ain't Dex.
Yeah, I think that's like the best set I ever heard by Steve. Because he's going to be gone for a long time. He's going to Asia. He's been helping me out a lot with this here open mic for like the last year. He's been lending his sound system. He's been doing sound. And he's been making a lot of cool jokes, better jokes than mine. Let's hear it again for Steve, the man August. Okay, we're going to continue open mic. We have about 4 or 5 more performers. I'd like to make an announcement. There is going to be a songwriters benefit for the homeless here on March 27th. That's a Wednesday between 8 and 10 p.m. That'll be featuring Jess Klein, Kevin So, some other very talented new songwriters. And I hope you can make it down to that. And there'll be flyers circulating on that. And on deck now is Peter Sosna. Should take him about 30-40 minutes to set up. I hope you can wait that long. Thank you.
Check. I hope so. This is a song by a friend of mine, Athena, that I was actually going to play tomorrow night at the Boston Covers Boston night at Passim's. And I wanted to just try it out in front of an audience, see if I can actually do it. Like metal soldiers side by side, ready for a long ride. I thought it would be different this time. Love calls out and you answer. Questions always the same. Make sense. Like every dream, woke up from sleep to realize its strength. You thought it would be different this time. Love calls out and you answer. The question's always the same. Who will be the one to hold on to the flame? I hold on to the fire in you. Take me where I should be. done. Toys are scattered one by one, leaving only places worn in the carpeting. We thought it would be different this time. Oh, love calls out and you answer. Questions always the same. Who'll be the one to hold on to the flame? To the flame. Love calls out and you answer. Question always the same. Who will be the one to hold on to the flame? To the flame. To the flame. Yeah. Okay. Maybe not. Yeah, we got it way too loud. It's like back to here. Okay. Alright, I'll try down. Down. Jacking. Ah, that's better, I think. Here's a song you'll hate. No, really. I've heard a lot of open micers, and I'm always amazed at like the caliber of talent of these things. And sometimes you get people who are not quite as talented, but I've never heard anyone actually get booed. So that's what I'm really working on with this one. You ask me why I hate this book you love. I'll tell you the truth. Till you've had enough. This book is the beast work, tyrants, thieves, and kings. This book is filled with myth and lies and hateful, ugly things. This book was the wind that filled the slave ship's sails. This book taught men to kill with foul, pernicious tales. How can you believe such nonsense? You know it can't be true. If you think it is, I think much less of you. Think that if you waste this life in the next one you'll be set. Use your brain, Pascal's wager is a losing bet. Living up the here and now, frankly it's insane. Can't you see you lose more than you gain? You'll need to bow to cringe to crawl to say a lying word. Come with me, break the chains, don't be part of the herd. Throw it down, clear your head, don't believe a lie. It isn't hard to free yourself, it's easy if you try. I'm well aware you haven't heard a word that I have said. Forgive me if I laugh at you for clinging to a thread. For I am free of popes and priests, devils, gods, and creeds. I know the truth, and that's all that I need. Thank you. That's what I was looking for.
How dare you say that about Lord of the Rings?
Yeah,
Boy, this is a really politically correct open mic. We don't rag on anybody here. Hey, let's hear it again for Lightning Fingers, Peter Sosna. Okay, we got a few people coming up here. They came in kind of late tonight. Alan Gampel is going to play my guitar. I got to get the pickup for him, so it's going to take a minute. Be right back.
Don't want to be just a I don't want to be.
Please come by anytime. You guys are working out.
Trees, hills and things, nice places to eat too. Sometimes it seems now late at night, a certain figure hurries on by. When I turn around, oh what it was, only the wind is my reply. Cemetery man, cemetery man. Try and catch it.
tourists there you can find. With the sunset and low casting shades of red over clouds, mountains and view. I wonder if it's true that the cemetery man is not a little bit like me and you. Cemetery man, cemetery man. Try and catch him if you can. Oh, if you can. He comes out at night, singing to dawn and ground quick.
He's gone.
Wouldn't you like to know? Wouldn't you like to know? Wouldn't you like to know? Cemetery man. There he is. Thanks, Janet. That's Janet Nerdy, the cemetery woman. I'd like to dedicate this next song to Janet, that I wrote it about her. Jim, which I just broke.
You hear it again for Mr. Alan Gampel, the man with $1 million smile. Okay, and moving right along here with our twilight final moments of our open mic, Janet Conerney.
Yeah, I like to do that playing
Does anybody have a capo that Janet can wear? This fellow is. What's your name again, sir? Jack Nameka. Nameka. Jack Nameka has a capo. Thank you, Jack.
Get your journal.
Oh, good. I'm lefty. Okay, maybe afterward. Anyways, anyway, here's a song I just wrote like a few months ago. It's called, actually I don't know what to call it. I think I'm gonna call it Wish I Could. Anyway. Choose me to. Love is a nose, but you better not pick it. Yeah, maybe I will do it in your journal. Here's a song I wrote about Alan Campbell. It's called In Your Journal. Say
All right. Are you hanging in there, everybody? Hey, Steve. Are you going to play?
Let's sing.
He looks so detached, so enviable. I mean, this chic, decadent couple walked in late tonight with this white stuff dripping from their noses. And with silver dollars bulging from their pockets. So they paid me out, so I'm going to let them do it to them. So, on stage, are you guys in on this too? What, really? Oh, this is horrible. Anyhow, where's Chombeas? Now we really need her. Okay, so, and you're going to be singing, right? They're all, but you're singing lead, correct? And it's your song. All these people are going to be playing Mary Gautier's song. This is Mary Gauthier, the one with the woman's name. And then there's Peter, Lightning Finger Sosna getting his last licks in. Steve the Dude raps in. He's also going to do sound while he's playing. He's going to project himself astrally. Then there's Ken Batch. You all remember him from earlier in the evening. Very fine songwriter. There's Matt Griffin with that screwy red hat he's been wearing all winter. I'm sick of winter and I'm sick of that hat. I'm sick of this hat. Anyhow. Alan Gampel's in on this too. Janet Carnerty, I'm getting the hell out of here.
That's what you like to see.
Hit it.
What are we playing?
Louisiana.
1, 2, 3, check.
Good loving.
Check. Take it down to the drums.
Sugar cane, young and green. Louisiana's children come and go, but the mighty Mississippi just flows.
This is done once a month, the second Monday of every month. You sign up at 7:30. Or you can sign up at 8 o'clock. Or you can sign up at 7:45. Come on down and sign up. I'll see you next month. Which is, it's not which, I just said three things. You said, good night, Jerry. Good night.
We'll meet on Edges soon, said I. There ought to be a wall against you coming around.
This concludes this portion of Noise Party, but we'll be back. This show is recorded live at Cafe Liberty.
Usually do. Is it on now?
Yeah. Oh, it's the wrong hero. I'm back again. And actually, I was never really part of this, but boy, wasn't that just heart-rending? Mama, Louisiana. I'll tell you, it makes me kind of lament for my own lost youth. Well, what I thought I would do quickly is I got the latest issue of Editorial Humor here. Let's see if I can come up with jokes right on the spot that aren't necessarily jokes. Gee, Bob Dole sort of sounds like the name of a stingy British pension plan, doesn't it? can I have a bob for the old dole now? You know, geez, let's see what else is here. Gosh, you know, it takes a lot of money to run for president, doesn't it? But of course, in my own presidential campaign, I have a budget of 20 cents. That's right, 20 cents. And I got that from scrounging deposit bottles. So, let's see. Oh yeah, Pat Buchanan. Why are all the liberals mad at Pat Buchanan? Because he's stealing their time, that's why. He's doing their rap about, oh, boo-hoo-hoo, the poor workman. You know, he needs an honest day's job and an honest day's pay. But then he's sort of subtly distorting it, you know. In other words, it's sort of like know-nothing populism instead of the politically correct kind. Union, yes. You know, that slogan, union, yes, it always looks like union eyes. Can you imagine somebody with union eyes? And now it's the adventures of union eyes. This McDonald's is not organized according to proper union principles. People are frequently forced to do work when they've already punched out. Why don't you go out and clean up the parking lot on your way out? Well, I already punched out, boss. Just do it, or you're not going to get that promotion to assistant manager, and you won't get your franchise after 20 years of busting your ass, because we'll fire you. We'll fire you after 19 years, 11 months, and 30 days. So we won't have to give you that franchise that we promised. Oh yeah, you know, the Pat Buchanan approach to things like that, it's sort of like, geez, do you think that at some point he's going to tell the American Indian that he should go back where he came from? I mean, how would he go about doing that? He'd say, fella, you're an American Indian, aren't you? Been to the Bering Strait? Lately? I have a one-way ticket there, and you know, you can get off the plane at Point Barrow, and you can mush a dog sled down to the Bering Strait there, and it'll be frozen over. You can just walk across, and you know, I hear Siberia this time of year is actually magnificently desolate. Yeah, so I suggest you take a hike, Geronimo. You know what I'm saying? Quit stealing the peyote smoking and bingo jobs from honest American workers who were born in this country, and you know, just and those feathers of yours, what are they? Antennas, so you can capture cosmic rays? You think you're better than us because you wear a big feather? Oh, it's a feather in your cap, eh? You're showing the yellow feather when you do that. You can't get a VCR like normal Americans. No, you have to wear feathers and wear buffalo robes and do batik and all them other 60s crap things. Oh, you got a wounded knee, huh? Well, gee, that's just
Wait, did the hippies get their stuff from the Indians, or did the Indians get it from the hippies? How does it work now?
Gee, I don't know how that works. I'll tell you something, though. That reminds me of what came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, the rooster. Huh. Anyway, yeah. You know, I like to sit around in the bathtub. I like to sit in the bathtub for hours. Sometimes I even put water in there. Say, you got a penny for the old Bob?
Am I on the camera?
Well, you're not visible on the camera,
Oh, okay.
Steve. This is a little group thing that we're doing here. What else is in the news here besides Pat Buchanan?
Well, we got Cuba.
Cuba. Boy. It's like, yeah, like spy planes flying over Boston. Hey, let's shoot them down. Hey, you can't do that. Why not? They're spies. Yes, Boston Libertad, you know. Give Boston back to the Puritans. Yeah, that's it. It's like,
Give Boston back to the Puritans.
you know, all these people who are really hot about family values and stuff, they're the very same people who get sore at Castro for shooting those spy planes down. The same thing happened. History repeats itself over and over. Flight 007. Gee, those weren't spies. Well, let's backpedal a little here. Maybe they were spies. Maybe there was sophisticated CIA surveillance equipment on those planes. Maybe not. But the Russians didn't know that, so they had no right to shoot those planes down over Korea. Who do they think they are anyway? Oh, and Russia's lobbing shells at Taiwan. What if Long Island decided to declare...
It's China that's doing that.
Yeah, China's lobbing shells at Taiwan. And there's some live ammo. And if Long Island decided to secede from the Union, Gee, didn't that happen in 1860, Fort Sumter? Didn't the Southerners say that South Carolina was independent and we shelled them? And there was a big war for 4 years? And gosh, but China shouldn't do that. We have a right to tell the most populous country in the world what to do, because we're the United States. And another funny thing, you know,
maybe there's some veterans from South Carolina that are like giving, tipping off. Maybe Taiwan's, giving strategies from South Carolina.
Well, China's really going to start to Taiwan on, if you know what I mean. Well, the big threat that China represents is not the fact that they're lobbing shells at Taiwan. It's the fact that they're going to suck up all the gasoline and rice, and there won't be any left, you know? And that reminds me, I mean, history seems to be flowing backwards. They want to privatize Social Security. What is this shit? It's like, well, why don't we just like go the whole hog and like make history run backwards? The Challenger will reassemble itself in midair and get sucked back down into the launch pad. John Hinckley will suck a bullet out of Ronald Reagan's left lung. Lee Harvey Oswald will suck a bullet out of JFK. Franklin Delano Roosevelt will take electricity away from farmers, you know, and this whole thing with history, it seems to be repeating itself, running backwards, forwards, every which way. Remember, the man who does not know what happened before he was born remains a child for the rest of his life. It was some Roman daddy-o that said that. Do I seem frivolous? Am I talking about weighty? Am I not competent to
That's
offer?
even better than Hayakawa.
Samuel, what? You mean the senator?
Yeah.
Well, what about him? He was a
The guy that
linguist.
said anyone who doesn't know history is bound to repeat it.
Oh, no, that was Santayana, not Hayakawa. Santayana. Harvard man. Class of '08. Yeah, what are the Harvard people going to... They're going to walk around with two big zeros on their chest if they're the class of 2000? I'm wondering about this. Will the women think it's politically correct to have these two gigantic zeros on their chest?
He was class of 1900?
I think he was. It might have been '06, '08. You know, when you get to be my age, these little facts just don't matter.
Well, why don't you explain it to the non-Harvard people, Francis? What does '08 mean?
Oh, it means zero. The class of 1900. He was a professor at Harvard.
'08, they call it?
Yeah, I guess so. Well, I don't know. What should we call that era?
That sounds like something they would wear in like Archie comics or something.
Right.
Double.
Big Moose would wear it. Two big
In
zeros.
fact, he did. Yeah.
Yeah. See, it just goes to show.
Big Moose and Santayana, man.
Hey, man, they're swinging.
Duh.
I can just see a big conversation between the two.
It would just basically be if we don't know history, we're doomed to repeat it. Duh. You know.
Well, Big Moose. Well, Big Moose. Bishop Berkeley talked very learnedly about the nature of reality and how we can really never know what's real and what is merely something which we have conjured up through the very fact that we perceive it.
Yeah, they do. That's called Dilton Doily. That's what he was.
Right. You touch Midge, I'll smash. Yeah, Big Moose.
Stay away from my girl.
Big Moose and Midge. Do you know what a midge is? It's a little insect, you know? So Big Moose has Midge on, like slap his snout, get it off there. I once read a very heart-rending Archie comic in an anthology of the famous Archie comics. Now it's shut out the lights, shut out the sun, shut out the rain, shut out the pain.
Just hold it, No.
Black light. Black light hero. Dun 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 dun. Black light hero. Dun 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 dun. Oops, I blew the candle out. There. All right. It's better to light a candle than to curse the darkness.
Now you won't be able to do it because it's covered with wax.
Well, we'll see about that. Ouch. Ouch. Wah! Nice. This is what I used to do when I was 10 years old, and my mother and my grandmother were downstairs and they wanted to be alone. And I didn't understand this. So I'd be upstairs in the bedroom going, and then they finally let me down. Like I would really, whoa. Well,
I'll take care of it.
Oh, wait a minute. Just pour some of the wax out right into the garbage can with the highly flammable paper products in it. Yeah. I'm still really struck by that Mama Louisiana. What is that, Dave Duke's campaign song? The whole reason Buchanan got his start was
Mama Louisiana is like Sweet Home Alabama or something?
Oh, I don't know. They were doing that at the Cafe Liberty. And the whole reason Buchanan won in Louisiana is because he tapped all of David Duke's supporters. You know, when David Duke ran for president in 1988, he got like 10% of the vote. He was in double digits. And, you know, in 92, well, who cares what happened in 92, right? That wasn't really a very pivotal election at all. Perot sort of screwed things up for them. But Graham was a fool to run against Buchanan in Louisiana. I mean, hell, Buchanan could have had Hitler as his running mate, and probably does. Yeah, who's Buchanan? You know, they're going to have to come up with somebody so nutty. And if Buchanan gets the nomination and he wins, who is his vice president going to be? Who could they possibly get who's, you know, more of a demagogue?
Like Jerry Lewis or like Herbie in the Love Boat or something like that.
Yeah, someone less desirable than Pat Buchanan.
Buchanan and Herbie.
For vice
Buchanan and
president.
Herbie ticket.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you could probably think of plenty
The
of
professor
people.
who wore tennis shoes, you know. The chimpanzee. Chimpanzee.
Strom Thurmond. There you go. There's a good
He's
Republican.
96 though.
Yeah, exactly. No one would bump off Buchanan if Strom were next to him. You know what I'm saying? It's like, the president's 96 years old. Well,
sound logic, Francis.
yes, indeedy. Well, maybe, I wonder if Ross Perot's going to run again. By the time this airs, we might very well know for sure.
Frank Perdue's not doing his own commercials anymore. His son is. So
Well, Frank, you know,
for Ross Perot.
I think Frank's kind of on a sick bed these days, you know. He's passing the torch, so to speak. And that reminds me of Tommy Vance Coy, who you may have heard on your own radio station, but who had this place in Erie, Pennsylvania called the Diamond Mine. And he used to have this incredibly irresistible pitch. You've got to buy our diamond! It's like finding money! Only you decide how much you want to find! This Easter Sunday, why not let your girlfriend be envious of other girls, not envious of them? Well, the diamond from Tommy Vance Coy Jr. But you know, then he got his son doing it for a while, and his son talked in this sort of dead monotone, like, "Hi, I'm Tony Vance Coy. My dad says." You know, he's like,
My dad.
yeah, we went from amphetamine to Thorazine in one generation here, and that's the weird thing.
It's like Brian Wilson, you know.
All these things, Ritalin, you know, it was a ticking time bomb in the heart of the youth culture. All these 8-year-olds that were like hyperactive, oh, just dose them on drugs. Now they're snorting this stuff. They're like,
It's right, the Ritalin generation. That's what slackers are, right? The 20-somethings, aren't they like the Ritalin generation?
well, if you were drugged,
Ritalin and Prozac.
if you were drugged from an impressionable age, you would probably think that it's okay not to do anything.
Wouldn't know any better. Well, we had TV. That's, you know, halfway.
That's a drug, man. Hey, like, I'm serious, you know.
At least there were some cool things that came out of TV, you know.
Yeah, like
I mean,
Lost in Space.
Yeah,
Danger.
the monkeys. I mean, you know, what does Ritalin have to compare with those things?
What is cool, but a psychopathic disregard for what the mainstream thinks is desirable.
How about, let's hear some Lipstick Traces quotes.
Lipstick.
Some situationist.
There is only one criteria. Does it threaten the status quo? I think Johnny Rotten said that in 1978. Oh, excuse me. John Lydon, please, you know.
How about Sid Vicious? What was his original name?
David Ritchie or something like that. I don't know.
You know about that interview that made them totally famous, where the interviewer challenged them to say something obnoxious?
Bleed off, you sodding bugger. Bugger off, you bleeding sod. I don't know. I don't got this lingo down, you know. There's a word they use in British magazines which you never see in this country. It's shambolic. I suppose it's one of those portmanteau words that Lewis Carroll and Alice in Wonderland discussed. You know, like smog or something like that. Hey, Fog Hat's making a big comeback, but now they're Smog Hat, ecologically conscious. And
Smog.
And Fleetwood Mac is now Fleetwood Mac Man, and they're going to go on tour with the people that do Jump.
Well, Smog Hat could do Slow Ride, and it could be about solar cars, because they'd be pretty slow.
There you go. Smog Hat. Slow ride, take it easy.
Oh no, it's getting cloudy. Take it easy.
Hey, yeah. Well, I don't think solar car is going to be the big thing. It's going to be electric cars. Where does the electricity come from? polluting coal-fired plants, of course.
Yeah.
That'll solve all our problems.
Transported and stored in inefficient batteries, losing 10% energy here, 20% there. Oh well.
Here's the perfect source of transportation energy. It's cheap, 90% efficient, and not only that, but it would benefit the physical well-being of those who utilize it. It's called the bicycle. Look into it.
Then it's always walking, you know.
Yeah,
walking is better because when you bike, you have to worry about getting hit by cars.
That's right.
So when you walk,
you just have to worry about getting mugged by people who jeer at you from their pickup trucks because you're on foot. Hey, he must be a caveman. He's on foot. Let's hit him with our clubs.
About 2 months ago, someone tried to run me over in Watertown. I was just walking down the street.
How did
Some guy
cavemen
swerved and tried to hit me.
How did cavemen secure their vehicles? Did they use the club? And when Superboy had his bicycle, did he use a kryptonite lock? Can't pedal, getting weak, can't understand.
Can't shift into second.
Superboy, get rid of the kryptonite lock, says Streaky the super cat, communicating telepathically, even though Streaky didn't show up on the scene for about 10 years later. Yeah, how does Superman age anyway? I mean, by now, you'd think he'd be about 70 years old. Maybe after he got out of high school, he only aged 1 year for every 4 years that ordinary Earthmen aged. How do they explain this discrepancy? And Peter Parker, he's another one.
Who were the creators of Superman, Francis?
Like Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, one of whom just died recently.
Didn't they escape from the Nazis in the 1930s?
Oh no, they were just teenagers. They lived in Ohio. I think they lived in Cleveland. They were doing science fiction mags.
I heard that the creator of Superman was a Jewish immigrant from Germany or someplace.
Maybe the son of a Jewish immigrant, but they created it in '33. There weren't that many Jewish immigrants. They were like 16, 14 years old when they first created the notion of Superman. The first Superman story was called The Reign of the Superman, but Superman was a villain who looked an awful lot like the ultra-humanite of the earliest Superman stories, who later became Lex Luthor. Looked, you know, bald guy, evil scientist. You know, the evil mad scientist, it's the oldest goddamn cliche in science fiction. They milked every single cliche in order to bring Superman to fruition. And they also milked every Joseph Campbell, the hero with 1,000 faces cliche. Born in a manger, well, actually on Krypton. Traveled a far distance, well, actually across interstellar space. Perfect in thought, word, and deed. His natural parents are dead. He is an orphan. Brought up, suckled, like the wolves suckled Romulus and Remus by the kindly Kents. And you know what little Clark said? Kent satisfies best. No, actually, that's what they said at Kent State. But anyway, that's a bad joke. One time
It's got potential, man.
I read a Superman story in which this young would-be detective boy thought he could figure out that Clark Kent was Superman, and he implausibly enough got a job in a restaurant, threw a Danish at Clark Kent's ear, and tried to compare it with a plaster cast he had somehow implausibly made of Superman's ear to see if they were identical. But Clark got wind of this scheme and melted the Danish with his heat vision, because he noticed that the boy carefully wrapped it in a napkin instead of throwing it out. So then he decided to fool the child by pretending that he was bald. And of course the kid was too stupid to realize that it was a bald wig over his natural hair. And so he thought, oh, Superman can't be bald, so I guess Clark Kent isn't Superman. And then his father sends him to the drugstore on an errand, and he comes back, and he has a pack of cigarettes and a candy bar in his hand that he went to the drugstore to get for his dad. And he says, gee, if only I could figure out who Superman really was. And in his hand was a Clark bar and a package of Kent cigarettes. And the little smirking editorial thing said, you never knew how close you came, Alan. And then 3 months later, everybody started writing in and saying, hey, how come he was a minor and he's allowed to buy cigarettes? And the editor, of course, you know, they made a specialty.
What year is this now?
67, probably. They made a specialty of wiggling their way out of these things. And they said, oh, his father must have called the drugstore ahead of time. Told him the child was going to pick him up. You know, the letters to Superman were the best part of the whole thing to a certain degree. Because, like, they were of two things.
When did they have letters?
Oh, they've always had letters. They still have them. But back in the 60s, they were like, Jimmy Olsen steals a plover's egg from the zoo, but plovers do not lay eggs in captivity. You know, they're always trying to catch him in these little inconsistencies. In page 16, panel 7, Superman's S was yellow, but in page 18, panel 3, it was blue. You know, well, we're not responsible. And then they always came up with, and then they say, you may answer with a wisecrack. Like they knew that the editors weren't going to give him a serious answer. So then the editors would say something like, gee, I guess Superman must have really felt blue that day. Remember, these DC Comics were the same geniuses who ran a comic book called The Adventures of Jerry Lewis right up until 1970. And they ran another comic book called The Adventures of Bob Hope right up until 1968, believe it or not. It's true, because I have...
Did they have, were these people involved in the production of the comic, or did they get...
No, of course not. What, are you kidding? Jerry Lewis is going to, like, waste his time writing the script for a damn comic.
But, I mean, did he give permission to it?
Of course. They got royalties. What do you think? This is America. And there was always one full page of Jerry Lewis stuff, like, you know, jokes from Jerry, which, of course, he probably had no hand in writing whatsoever. And they were, like, really lame jokes, like... a friend of mine decided to call his dog Jerry Lewis, and I was embarrassed to be walking down the street near his house one day, and he was screaming, "Jerry Lewis, get out from under that car!" So, you know, similarly lame jokes like that. But, you know, the thing is, towards the end of the 70s, even they realized that the Adventures of Jerry Lewis and the Adventures of Bob Hope wasn't grabbing their youthful audience, so they jazzed them up. And in the case of Jerry Lewis, they added this witch. I think her name was Witchcraft, and he had this bratty nephew named Renfrew. And in the Adventures of Bob Hope, they had this guy who looked like a beetle, and he had a guitar, and he called himself Super Hip. And,
Super Hip.
Yeah, and he was meek-mild Tadwaller Jutefroos, whose father was the magnate of Jutefroos's fruit juices. And but then whenever he got mad, he would like spin around like a dervish and become super hip. And he was always like using that kooky teen lingo that the kids were using, like hip and groovy.
Fab.
And fab, oh yeah, and all that.
Mod.
The archaic lingo that was maybe hot in '64, but this is '67. They were always like 3 or 5 years behind the curve there. And oh, and the people at the high school, they weren't normal people. They all looked like movie monsters. Like one of the high school teachers looked like Frankenstein, the shop teacher. And imaginatively enough, his name was, can you guess?
Mr.
Frank N. Stein, of course. But whenever you pointed out to him that he looked like Frankenstein, he would get furiously angry and start smashing things. And Tadwaller Jutefroos was always right there. He was always saying, please, I beg you, don't mention it to him. Say, you know, you look just like, no, please, don't say it. You know, Frankenstein, boom, you know, and no, isn't it weird? I mean, I could have been reading Plutarch's Lives. I could have been reading the collected works of William Shakespeare, William Webster. I mean, and I was wasting my energy and my time and my intellect on these horrible, horrendous, you know, even if I were reading good comic books, it would have been different, you know. And there were quite a few good ones.
What was better than Superman back then?
Spider-Man was always much better than Superman. Well, from issue number 1 to issue number 40 or so, Spider-Man was the best. And
what years were you talking about?
62 to about 66. And then from issues 40 to about issue 90, they were still pretty good. They had John Romita. They got rid of Steve Ditko because they didn't agree with the storyline that he had scoped out. They couldn't agree on what the identity of the Green Goblin would be and whether the woman he was later to marry, Mary Jane, was beautiful or ugly. Of such controversies, that's what animated Spider-Man. It got really lame about issue number 100 when he sprouted like 4 new arms. And then around issue number 130 it got really lame because they had this lame clone thing. You know, like his girlfriend who tragically died in issue number 121 was cloned by this crackpot professor. And again, it's the evil mad scientist. And you know, as good as the Spider-Mans were back in the early 60s, they still had the evil mad scientist on virtually every single story. You know, it's like Dr. Octopus, Octavius, Otto Octavius, PhD, you know, experimenting with, and you know, this peculiar notion that radioactivity would somehow give you superpowers instead of making you bald. and making you hemorrhage blood. No, radioactivity is our friend. It's jolly Mr. Plutonium. We call him PU for short. He doesn't seem to mind. Yeah, so I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, back in the, like, say, the 1860s, a reasonably educated person would be studying Latin and Greek if they were like, if they were in the sort of circumstance which would enable them to pursue higher education as a child. And in the 1960s, Latin, Greek, that's for sissies. I want to read the Adventures of Super Hip and Stanley and his Monster. You know, I just realized something. This is a blinding revelation. DC Comics was basically copying the British comic books, which are very different from ours, because they're not really superhero books. The comic books for children that were published in Great Britain, right up until the time that Viz came out, which is a parody of the British comic books, were always these like little gimmick stories, like Stanley and his fish, things like that. You know, oh, I'll just pop a banana and become Banana Man. And you know, they had little spin-offs of movies like Jaws and Rambo, and they had this boarding school called Fright School, where all the teachers were robots and zombies. And oh, the worst one though was, well, I don't know, it was, no, actually it was my favorite one, so I shouldn't say it was the worst. Ivor Lott and Tony Broke. Two blokes going to a boarding school. One of them didn't have any money and the other was filthy rich, but the honest, good, poor kid always got the better of his scheming, rich counterpart. It was sort of like Richie Rich, I suppose.
Sounds like Goofus and Gallon a little bit.
Yeah, that too. I mean, all these lame dichotomies. Why don't they
like
do
the Prince
it?
and the Pauper meets Goofus and Gallon.
You know, it's like they read Hegel and they got the synthesis. They got the thesis and antithesis, but they never got the synthesis. They left that chapter out. Then why didn't they have a third character? DC did this all the time. They'd have these diametrically opposed characters, Batman and Robin, the Hawk and the Dove, and they never had the third person who was like really vital. I guess the limited attention spans of their readers couldn't countenance three heroes having...
well, who would be a good synthesis character for Batman and Robin?
Yeah, that's a good question. The Joker, of course. No, well, there was Batgirl and then there was two Batgirls, actually. There was the one in the 50s who was like a teenager, always getting into mischief, usually cavorting with Batman's pals like Ace the Bat Hound and Batmite. You know, it's amazing they didn't have a Bat Cat.
Did these characters get developed at all? Batmite and Ace?
Oh yeah, they would show up like a bad penny at least once every 6 months and often once every 3 months.
Is this early 60s you're talking now?
Late 50s, early 60s. Batmite was sort of like the counterpart to Mr. Mxyzptlk, the mischievous, zany sprite in the Superman stories. The whole thing with Superman, they had all these animal spin-offs. That was a direct ripoff of Captain Marvel and the Marvel family that the Fawcett publications came out with in the 40s and early 50s until they were sued by DC and forced to drop their Captain Marvel character, which DC bought the rights to and revived in the 70s because they were afraid that Marvel Comics, who had the rights to the name Captain Marvel, would capitalize on it. So they couldn't even call him Captain Marvel in the title. They refer to him as Shazam. What a disgrace. But Captain Marvel had the Marvel family, you know, like Marvel Girl, Marvel Boy, Old Uncle Marvel, Talkie Tawny, the Talking Tiger. So Superman did the same thing.
They had